was. The mute button was hit by accident. Hopefully we have sound now. The mute button was hit by accident. Oh, and now I can hear myself. So I had the mute button, my little... Now I can hear myself. Oh, let me get this out of here. Sorry about that, folks. On my little headset, there is a little button here for mute, and that red light was on. So I had accidentally hit the mute button. I definitely apologize about that. I did not realize that. So my whole intro music thing just went to pot because that had for the NBC game of the week that had no sound, so we couldn't get the what do you call it, the ambiance going there. But we'll live without that, I suppose. All right. So as I was saying, but you didn't hear it, but I was saying it. You just didn't hear it. No, this RGL. This is definitely amateur hour, so there is no professional operation here. Bill Lee is a -3 aggregate because he's a 0, but Fisk is a -3 hold. Palmer's a -1. He's a +1, but Etchebarren's a -2. Ballpark effects 1 to 13 and 1 to 10 on singles, and home runs 1 to 8 and 1 to 12. So hopefully that catches everybody up. And again, this is the starting lineup, the benches, and the bullpens for who's available. I won't show this anymore. I'll just have it here, just so you can see it. Maybe I'll leave it like that and see if that's okay to leave it there. So you still see it, but it's out of the way. How about that? We'll do it that way, I suppose. Got Baltimore Oriole colored dice, as I was saying again. Okay. Yeah, I understand that other channel is just, so much better, obviously. As I was saying, and of course you didn't hear me when I was saying it, but Jim Palmer against Bill Lee is your starting pitcher matchup for today's game. Jim Palmer will be finishing up the warm-up tosses, and leading things off will be Tommy Harper. Tommy Harper, Valley PTA. He is in left field for this game. And to update you on the standings, Baltimore has made a push in the standings. And I'll pull that up on the computer real quick just to give you the most updated standings that I have as of this game. And let's see if I can show it on the computer. Then I'll have to fix the focus for sure. But anyway, I'll try to show it as it is on my laptop here. Boston now leads Baltimore by 3.5. Detroit by 9.5. Oakland still comfortably out in front in the American League by 11 games. But Boston had a lead at one point of up to 7 games, but that has since went away. And in the National League, it's also getting interesting as well. I'll show the National League real quick before we get going. National League standings, we have the Giants with only a 1.5 game lead on the Dodgers, as the Dodgers have made up some ground. Cincinnati and Houston still not out of it. They're in single digits behind, so you're still not out of it at that point. In the East, you got a 4-team race: Pittsburgh, St. Louis, the Mets, and Montreal, all within 5.5 games. And again, we got about 2 months in the season remaining, so lots of time for a team to get hot and make up some ground. Now let me check, because I'm sure I probably got to redo the focus. I do. Okay, that's expected. I mean, I expect that. So here we go. That should fix it now. Hello, Ben. How are you doing? Hello, Troy's Cards, and Comics. I'm sorry, didn't read that correctly. Hello, Doug. How are you doing? Hello, PFLQR. Good to see everybody here, spending part of your Saturday afternoon with me. Had a wonderful game on Jeffrey Guterman's Strat-O-Matic network channel earlier today. A 1969 co-op effort, Cleveland Indians and Washington Senators. Might want to check that out later on his channel. Had a little technical difficulties when we started, but we got straight, and hopefully everything now did okay on that. We shall see. All right, so I think we're ready to go. I'm trying to get everything into place. Looks like you can see the cards okay. Looks like it's tilted for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I'll tilt it back this way. Not sure why it's doing that, but we'll go with it. All right, so we're underway And it will be Jim Palmer against Tommy Harper. Game of the week is underway. 1-7 for Harper. It's ground ball back to Jim Palmer. And there's one away. So Harper grounds it back to Palmer. One down for Louis Aparicio. Shortstop. 4-11 against a right-hander is a fly ball left field X. First X chance of the game. Belongs to the left fielder Don Baylor. And Don Baylor checks in as a 2E8. So a 2E8 for a left fielder check. A 2E8. 2-17 is an F3. He'll get to that. That's a 9. And he's an E8. And there is no 9, so it's good play for Don Baylor. 2 up and 2 down. And here we go. Palmer to Yastrzemski, 5-8. 2 Hall of Famers going at it. 5-8, a ground ball to first. And that is taken in by the first baseman, Williams. They're benching Boog Powell against the lefty today. But Palmer goes 1-2-3 here in the top of the first. We go to the bottom of the first. And it's the spaceman, Bill Lee. 17-11 with a 2.76 ERA. He will take the bump against Merv Redmond, right fielder. Again, Al Bumry a lefty, Elrod Hendricks a lefty, and Boog Powell a lefty, all getting the game off as they're facing the left-hander, Bill Lee. Here's a spaceman against Redmond. The 6-9, and that's going to be a 1 for a triple. Anything else is a single. That's a 1. The double die strikes with a 1. I swear to it that the 1 comes up more than 5%. It's got to. I think it's weighted or something like that. And so that 1 means that Redmond gets a triple off of Spaceman's card. Not a single, but a triple because of that 5% chance. It is a leadoff triple, and the Spaceman is not happy about it. He's already protesting. And here's Bobby Grich. Nothing on the havoc roll. Infield is back. We're early, so they're going to play back. Try to avoid the big inning. 5-4 is a catcher X. That could be a pass ball or something coming up anyway, so you might not have to worry about who's in and who's out. It's a catcher X. Carlton Fisk is a 1E5. So it's a good chance he might be able to do something with this on a 1E5. 1 and a 2, though, is trouble. That's a WG. And that's a 7, and he is an E5. There is no 7, but it's a W/G. So we go to our chart for the W/G, and it says, with runners on base, the pitcher uncorks a wild pitch. So there you go, wild pitch. Wild pitch by Bill Lee. And that's going to score the run and make it 1-0. Bobby Grich still stands in there. But a wild pitch by Bill Lee, the spaceman. Hello, Kenyon. Yeah, hello, Mr. ID. Good to see you here. So yeah, I can't prove it. I may, one of these games, I may set a little testing aside to see how many times a 1 comes up. It just seems to come up far too often. Anyway, here's Bobby Grich against the spaceman. 1-3, and it's a ballpark single check. A 1-10 for a right-hander. That's a 19, though. It says we're going to line it to short on the failed home run, failed ballpark single check. And Bobby Grich is retired. Brings up Paul Blair. 5-6, and that's going to be a ground ball to short. Handled over there by Aparicio. 2 up and 2 down for the designated hitter, Tommy Davis. One of the things I don't like about playing the American League version of this is you get a DH, and I prefer not to have DHs, but that's just the way it works. 4-3 against Bill Lee is a fly ball right field X. That is Dwight Evans. He's a 2E2. 2 and an E2. So it's a pretty good fielder, as you might expect. A 2E2. 2 and an 18 is an F3. E2 and a 7 should be okay, and it is. So Dwight Evans, I keep wanting to call him Daryl. Dwight Evans makes the catch to end the inning, but Baltimore gets the run on the Bill Lee wild pitch after Retman led off with a triple. And at the end of one, it's Baltimore 1 and Boston nothing. If Baltimore wins, of course, they would cut the lead even closer. The race would get tighter. Here is Jim Palmer. He'll be facing Orlando Cepeda, designated hitter Orlando Cepeda. Let's bring this down just a hair, I think, maybe. Orlando Cepeda. Or maybe let's do it like that. Okay, Orlando Cepeda. 4-6 for Palmer, fly to right. One down. That'll bring up Rico Petrocelli. Rico Suave, maybe. 3-6, and he's going to ground to short, so not so suave there. As he grounds to Belanger for out number 2. And that brings up Carlton Fisk, the catcher. 1-5, and that's a 1-4 home run. That is a 4. Carlton Fisk. And you can't rob the home run because the out is not, the second part is not an out. When you get a base hit either way, there's no robbing home runs. So the home run is good for Carlton Fisk, and we've got a tie game. Pudge didn't need to wave it fair down the foul line on this one. It was good all the way. And we are tied at a run apiece. That will bring up Rick Miller. 6-8, lefty. 6-8 is going to be a line out to Belanger, and that's going to end the inning. But the Red Sox tie the game on the home run from Carlton Fisk. To the bottom of the second, tied at 1. And now Bill Lee back out will be facing Earl Williams, the first baseman, followed by Baylor and Robinson. Lee, 3-8, lefty, ground ball to second. Doug Griffin handles it, 1 away. For Don Baylor, Mr. Hit by Pitch. Lee, 4-4. That's a ballpark single check, and for a right-hander, a ballpark single is 1-10, but that's a 15, so it's another failed ballpark single check for a liner to short. 2 down for the best fielding third baseman of all time, Brooks Robinson. Not the best third baseman of all time. That's Mike Schmidt, hands down. But Brooks Robinson is the best fielding third baseman of all time. But he's no Michael Jack Schmidt. 6-8 is a walk, 2-out walk to Robinson. He will walk. He will not be held. He doesn't run very well at all. For the catcher, Andy Etchebarren. Hello, Canadian. How are you? Etchebarren is the batter with 2 outs and a runner at first. Lee, 1-6 to Etchebarren, struck him out. That's going to end the inning. Nothing doing for the O's, and at the end of 2, we're tied at a run apiece here on the game of the week. Let's move this over here so we can get some room. Perhaps. Doug Griffin. Let me move this thing out of the way. It's probably an annoyance anyway. Doug Griffin, your batter. Griffin, Evans, and Harper due up. 2-8 against a right-hander, fly to left. 1 away, and that brings up a very young Dwight Evans. His first full season in the major leagues. He was a call-up in 72, but this is his first full season. 6-3, and that's a walk. So Jim Palmer gives up the free pass, his first walk that he's issued. Dwight Evans will be held. He won't go anywhere, but he will be held. He's enough of a threat to hold. 2, so chance of a balk or a pass ball. That's a 4, so we're checking the pass ball rating of the catcher, and that is Etchebarren. And Etchebarren's pass ball rating is a 0. He cannot have a pass ball, so we skip that result and go straight to the at-bat. 6-8, and that's a pop out to short. Belanger is there, 2 down. And Louis Aparicio, the batter, flew to left in his first time up. Hello, Jimmy Jam. How are you doing? 4-6, and that's a fly to right. That's put away out there by Retman to end the inning. Nothing doing. They got a walk, but nothing else. We go to the bottom of the third, still 1-1. And Mark Belanger, the shortstop, number 9 hitter, is your batter against the spaceman, Bill Lee. 5-8. That's a ground ball, second base X. That's Doug Griffin. Griffin is a 2-E-8. 2-E-8 for a second baseman. 2 and a 15, that's a G1. E8 and an 11, that's an E8. There is no 11, so it's good play, Doug Griffin. And Belanger is retired to start the third. Back to Redmond. He tripled and scored on the wild pitch. First time up. 4-9, and that's going to be a ground ball, shortstop X. That is the shortstop Aparicio, and Aparicio is a 3-E27. 3 to 17 is a G1, E27 and an 11. Whoops, shortstop. E27 and an 11. Nope, there's a 12, but no 11. So good play for Louis. 2 X chances and 2 successful X chances for 2 quick outs, and that brings up Bobby Grich, second baseman. 5-3, and that's a ground ball pitcher X. Lee is a 3-E30. So a little bit error prone, but he's going to see if he can handle it despite himself. A 3-E30. 3-1, that's a base hit. That's a 7, and he's an E30. There is no 7, but it's going to get by him for a base hit. Bobby Grich sneaks it past the spaceman. He's aboard with 2 outs. He might try to get the lead here, although Lee is a -3, so if he does get the lead, it'd be a 1-10. But to get in the scoring position with 2 outs is still a pretty good proposition. So he's going to try to establish a lead. He needs a 2 through 6 or a 12. And he does not get it, so it's a moot point. He will stand there, but he will be held, obviously, for Paul Blair. Lee, 6-8. That's a walk, so Rich doesn't have to work to get to second. Spaceman just walks him over there. 2 down for designated hitter Tommy Davis. Lee to Davis. 6-5, and that's a 1-5 in home run chance, but that's a 10. So it's a fly to left to end the inning. Spaceman got a break there. At the end of 3, we are tied at a run apiece here from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Good to see everybody here on this Saturday afternoon. I'm going to try to make 1 o'clock, kind of the standard from now on. There will be exceptions possibly, but I'm going to shoot for 1 o'clock as a start time just to be consistent. And here is Yastrzemski. He grounded to Williams at first, his initial at bat. 6-8, left-handed, lines out to Belanger at short. 1 away. Hit it hard, but right at Belanger, and there's out number 1. Here's Cepeda in his final season as a major leaguer as a DH. 2-5, and he's going to hit a single. So how about that? Orlando Cepeda, base hit. He will not be held. He doesn't run well at all. He tried to steal twice, and he got caught both times. So they're not going to try anything at all. Here's Petrocelli. Petrocelli. 110, and that's a strikeout. 111 would have been an injury check, but not worried about that. What's the strikeout? And here's Pudge Fisk. Hit a homer his first chance. 310, and this time he's going to ground it to first. It's a C, so my house rule, like a lot of people, is he grounds it to first and he flips to the pitcher covering. It's all a moot point. It's outs and out. That's all that matters. Go to the bottom of the 4th, still tied at 1 apiece. And Earl Williams, the batter, first baseman. He's playing first with the lefty on the mound as Boog Powell is getting the game off, at least early on. 5-7 against a right-hander, right in the wheelhouse where he didn't want to be. 1-8's a double. That's that D20 again. That evil D20 is a 1. And it's a double for Earl Williams. So Bill Lee has almost given up the cycle. He's given up a triple, a double, and a single. Just has not given up a home run yet. Here's Don Baylor. And Williams is not going to be held at second. He doesn't run all that well. Lee, 310, left-handed, fouls out to Carlton Fisk for out number one. That's a big out to get with no runner advancement. And that brings up Brooks Robinson. Walked his first time up. 6-3, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-10. That's a 13, though, so it's another failed ballpark single check. L6. Third time it's happened to the Orioles. It's happened once to the Red Sox. We've had, no, actually, that was not a ballpark check. I think this one might have been. No, that wasn't it either. So 3 ballpark checks. They've all been with Baltimore. They've all failed. How about that? Here's Etchebarren. 2-7, and that's a ground ball to short. It's going to end the inning. Leadoff double by Williams does not come to fruition for a run, and we go to the 5th. Still 1-1. And I should have checked, and I didn't do it, what the historical game score was. Not that it matters, but just out of curiosity. And I could look it up, and I'm not going to worry about it. Here's Rick Miller. 2-7 for Miller, and that's a good spot for him to be in. 1-8's a double. That's a 5. It's a leadoff double for Rick Miller. So Rick Miller, leadoff double, and he runs pretty good, so they're going to hold him on second base. Runs at a 15. They don't want to get a big jump. So those pound on the X charts, a pound comes into play now. Palmer 2-5. That's a ground ball to short. There's nothing to worry about as far as range goes on that one. Ground ball short A. That means runner has to hold. 1 down for Dewey Evans. Nothing on the havoc. Here's Dewey Evans. He walked his first trip. 4-4. That's a catcher X for Etchebarren. He's a 3-E-3 as a catcher. A 3-E-3. 3-1. That's interesting. It's a W/S. This might be an infield hit. That's an 11, and he's an E3. There is no 11. It's a W/S squib single. So that's what we got, squib single. That will move Miller to third. So Evans beats out at a little worm burner right in front of the plate. And Etchebarren too slow to get it. Puts runners at the corners with 1 out for Tommy Harper. Let's see, is Evans being held? Yes, he is. Infield looking for the double play. Palmer really looking for a strikeout. 1-4, and that's a fly ball left field B, so it's a possible sacrifice fly. Rick Miller runs at a 15. You add 2, makes him a 17. Left fielder arm, Baylor is a +2, makes it a 19. So the only way he won't score is on a 20. Everything else he will score. And 19, he barely got in there, but it is going to count. Sacrifice fly from Tommy Harper will put the Red Sox in the lead, 2-1. And now that brings up Aparicio. Hello, Astros. Good to see you. 2-3 for Aparicio is a ground ball to second, and that's going to end the inning. It's a B, so we'll call it a fielder's choice. Say that Grich went to Belanger for the force to end the inning, but the Red Sox pick up a go-ahead run. A double, a number single, and a sacrifice fly do the trick. You go to the bottom of the 5th. 2-1, favor the Red Sox. Belanger will lead things off for the O's. 5-2. That's a home run, ballpark home run chance, but he has weak power. We'll see if it's a hit or not. Ballpark home runs for a right-hander, 1-12. That's a 20. It's going to be a fly to left anyway. So it wouldn't matter one way or the other whether he had power or not. He's out of there, and now Merv Retman steps to the plate. 3-5 against the left-hander, and he's going to strike out. So Retman out on strikes. 2 down for Bobby Grich. Spaceman starting to feel it a little bit. 4-10 against a right-hander is a ground ball shortstop X. That is Aparicio once again. And he's a 3E27. 3 and an E27 for Aparicio. 3 and a 16 is good. That's a G1. That is a 10, and there are no errors on 10s usually. 27, nope, no 10 there, so it's good play for Aparicio. It's a 1-2-3 inning for the Spaceman, and we played 5 here at Memorial Stadium. It's 2-1 Red Sox. Both pitchers have 8 for fatigue, so they're definitely not anywhere near reaching that fatigue level, so they're still good to go. Here's Carl Yastrzemski. He's 0 for 2. Grounded to first and lined to short. 3-6, and he's going to ground it to first. Earl Williams takes it to the bag himself, 1 away. For the DH, Orlando Cepeda. He's 1 for 2 with a single. 4-9, and that's a 1-8 single, and that's a 1. There we go. That double die comes up with a 1 again. I'm telling you, it comes up as a 1 more often than 5%. It's got to. So Cepeda not going to be held. And that'll bring up Petrocelli. Palmer looking for the double play. 1-9, that's a strikeout. He'll take that. That's 2 away. For Pudge Fisk. Homered in the second, grounded out to first in the fourth. 4-6, and that's going to be a fly to right, hauled in by Retman, and that's going to do it to end the inning. So it's a 2-1 game as we go to the bottom of the 6th. And due up for the Orioles, heart of the order, Blair, Davis, and Williams. Need to start making some noise. 4-6, and that's a fly to center field. Hauled in out there by Miller, 1 away for DH Tommy Davis. 1-8, and that's a ground ball back to Bill Lee. So Lee is in control. He is doing his thing, and here's Earl Williams. He did double his last time. 3-4. This time's a ballpark single check. 1-10. That's a 17. So the 4th time in the game, it's a failed ballpark single check, and it's the 4th line out to short. So that's going to end the inning. We go to the 7th. Still 2-1. Favor of the Red Sox. And that'll send up Rick Miller. He doubled and scored his last time up. 5-8. That's a ground ball to first. Williams will take it to the bag himself. 1 away. A lot of people use 3U. I like 3G better. I got that from Diamond Mine. I just kind of kept with it, saying it's a grounder to first. Here's Griffin. Everybody scores the game their own way, though. 4-7. That's going to be a walk. No matter how you score it, that's a walk. So Griffin will walk. He will be held. He'd be too much of a threat to run if he wasn't held, so they're going to hold him on. And here's Dewey Evans. 3-9 for Evans. He's going to strike out. So 2 down. And it's all up to Tommy Harper. He had the sacrifice fly his last time up to put the Red Sox in the lead initially. And they've held it so far. Palmer, 4-4. Catcher X again. That is Echeverry. He's a 3E3 on a catcher X. 3E3. 3 and a 4 for a catcher. 3 and a 4 is a W/G. 3 and a 4 is a W/G. That's a 10. And he is an E3. No 10 there, but W/G might be another wild pitch. Yep, it's a wild pitch by Palmer. It's going to move the runners up. Runners will move up on the wild pitch. And both pitchers now have uncorked the wild pitch. This one wasn't as costly. This one didn't do a run like the first one did, but it does put Griffin in scoring position. 1, so a chance of a wild pitch for Palmer on 1-5. 12, nope, it's blocked this time. Whoop, the D20 didn't go through. Let's re-roll that. D20 did not make it in where it needed to go. 1-5 for Harper, and that's a walk. So the inning will continue. Runners at first and second, 2 outs. And Louis Aparicio, the batter. Palmer's got to tighten up here and get out of this inning. Can't afford to fall further behind. 5-10, and that's a strikeout. So he did just that. Strikes out Aparicio to end the inning. So no runs come across the plate. We go to the bottom of the seventh inning stretch time. I'm going to take a quick stretch break myself, just because the game is kind of moving along pretty good. So I'm pretty happy about the fact that it's moving along fairly well. So no complaints there. But I do need to. Tabby's just kind of, well, now she's actually, she wants to leave. So good time to take the stretch break while I let her outside, because she does want to go on and do other things, I guess. I don't know. So let me take care of Miss Tabby, and then we can move on with the game. All right, so that served two purposes. I got to stretch, and I got Tabby to go out and do her thing and not interrupt us. All right, bottom of the seventh we go. Bill Lee will be facing Baylor, Robinson, and Echebarren for the Orioles. 4-6 against the right-hander to fly to center. Rick Miller all over it, one down. And Bill Lee has done very well for himself. He has retired 10 in a row since the double by Williams. He's retired 10 in a row. 1-9 for Robinson, make it 11 in a row as he flies to left. And here comes Echebarren. Bill Lee, 11 in a row. 5-8, and that's a ground ball second base X. That's Doug Griffin. And Griffin checks in as a 2E8. 2E8, 2-11. He'll get to that with a G1. That's a 14, E8, and there's no 14. There's 16, 17, and 18, but no 14. So Griffin makes the play. It's another 1-2-3 inning for Bill Lee. We go to the eighth. It's still 2-1 Boston. And now the eighth inning, the pitcher fatigue factor starts to take effect as Jim Palmer and Bill Lee both have 8s for fatigue. But the bullpens are still quiet at the moment. So here's Yastrzemski. He will lead off. He's 0 for 3. 4-6, and he's going to be 0 for 4 on a fly to right field. Retman is there. One down for Orlando Cepeda. 6-10, that's a ground ball third base X. That's Brooks Robinson. He's a 1, so you know he's going to get it. We don't even have to roll the D20. We know he's going to get it. We're just checking for an error. And he's an E16. So we're looking right here at the 16 error. 4, 7, 14, 3, 16, and 18. He's got to avoid those numbers. That is a total of 11. So let's check it again. E16. There is no 11, so it's good play for Brooks Robinson. 2 down for Rico Petrocelli. 2-4 for Petrocelli is a ballpark single check. Again, 1-10. That's a 17, and he will line it to short. So that will do it. We go to the bottom of the eighth. Palmer had no ding against his fatigue, so he can pitch the ninth as well. Bill Lee, having retired 12 in a row, is going to come back out and face Belanger. Now we're in the eighth inning, so I can start pinch hitting freely. And I believe we're going to get a pinch hitter for Belanger because he's not a very good hitter. And they need offense. I know they love his defense, but they really need the offense. So let's see who they're going to go to. The only right-hander, let's bring out the rosters again. The only right-hander they have on the bench is a very young Enos Cabell, who later went on to Houston for more popularity. But he only hit .213. So I think Earl Weaver would probably be tentative about doing that. But what they're going to do is they're going to bring in Al Bumbry. He's a good leadoff man anyway. So Bumbry will come in and hit for Belanger. And then the new shortstop in the top of the inning will be the only shortstop left on the roster, and that's Frank Baker. So I never heard of Frank Baker, and he's not very good. He's a 4.29, but Baker will be the new shortstop. But they need offense. So Bumry is going to lead things off, and Belanger will get the rest of the game off. So it is Bumry, followed by Retman and Gritch against Bill Lee here in the bottom of the 8th. And don't forget to check out Robert's inside pitch tonight. Tigers at the Red Sox from Fenway on that other channel. All right, here's Bill Lee to Bumry. 1-8 for Bumry. It's a 1-8 single. That's a 3. So Al Bumry does his job, gets the base hit. He's definitely a threat to steal. To get the lead, he needs a 2 through 6 or an 11. A 2 through 6 or an 11 will get him the lead. That's a 9. He does not get the lead, so he will stand pat. But he's a very good runner, and he will be held. He runs at a 17, so he will be held. And now Merv Retman, top of the order, due up. Lead to Retman. 4-9 against the right-hander is a ground ball shortstop X. The second baseman is responsible for holding the runner with a right-hander at the plate, so the shortstop, Aparicio, does not lose anything on his defense. He's a 3 E27, and a good play could result in a double play. 3 E27. That's a 13. 3 and a 13 is a G2, though, so it's going to be a fielder's choice as long as there's no error. He's an E27 at short, and that is a 13. E27, there's a 12, but no 13, so it's going to be a fielder's choice. It's going to go 6-4, and Retman will be the new runner at first with 1 out. He could look for a jump as well, try to get the lead as well. He needs a 7 to do so. He has to roll a 7 to get the lead. He missed it, so he will hold, and they will hold him on for Bobby Gritch. Hello, Joel. Didn't see you sneak in there. Of course, it's a good move. This is the best managerial channel you're going to find, not that other channel. 111 for Gritch is a ballpark home run chance. It's a 1-12. That's a 3. It's gone. Bobby Gritch, a 2-run homer, and he's the Gritch that stole Bill Lee's Christmas right there on a 2-run homer here in the bottom of the 8th. After Bill Lee had done so well, a 2-run homer for Gritch. Let's look at it again on the replay. 111, ballpark home run chance against a lefty. Home runs are 1-10. That's a 3. So there you go. The Orioles take a 2-run lead. Let's see. I'm sorry, a 1-run lead. It's 3-2. And now here's Paul Blair. Now Bill Lee's frustrated. We're looking at the bullpen for the Red Sox and see if they've got anybody loosening down there in case Bill Lee implodes. They do have Bobby Bolin, a right-hander. He is loosening the Red Sox bullpen in case Bill Lee decides to go nuclear. There's nobody out. I'm sorry, there's 1 out, and the bases are clear for Paul Blair. 1-7, ground ball to short. That's 2 away. They're going to hope that Bill Lee can finish the inning at least. And here's Tommy Davis. Tommy Davis. 3-9 for Davis. He flies to left to end the inning, but a profitable one for the Orioles. They pick up 2 and take a 3-2 lead into the 9th. Palmer's going to stay out there. He says, I don't need no stinking bullpen. So Palmer is out there. However, Earl Weaver says, let me make those decisions. Why don't you? So they have their closer, one of their closers, Bob Reynolds, is loosening in the pen just in case. Just in case. Bob Reynolds is loosening in the pen. So for the Red Sox, it's Fisk, Miller, and possibly a pinch hitter for Griffin in the top of the 9th. And the Red Sox do have Ben Ogilvy, a lefty, on the bench that they could go to. Let's see what his numbers were for the season, for his offense here. Bill, let's see here. Ben Ogilvy. Also have switch hitter Reggie Smith. It's actually a much better situation. So Reggie Smith is going to pick up a bat and hit for Griffin here in the inning. But right now, it is Fisk, Miller, and Reggie Smith. Those will be the top 3 hitters. So Reggie Smith will come in and pinch hit for Griffin when the time comes. Palmer, 6-2, and that's a straight up home run chance on a ballpark. 1-12 for Fisk. That's a 20 though. That's a 20, so he's going to fly to left. Boy, a deep shot to left field, but got up under just a tad and misses out on the long ball. If that had been in Fenway, he might have done it. Here's Rick Miller. Palmer, 5-6. 1-12 is a single. That's a 4, so Rick Miller will get himself a single. And he'll have to be held because he runs pretty well. And the pinch hitter, Reggie Smith, is coming up. They're going to hold Miller. They don't want to take any chances that he gets thrown out. So they're going to let Reggie Smith do his thing against Palmer. And, of course, Reynolds still loosening the Oriole bullpen just in case. But for Griffin, it is now Reggie Smith. Palmer, 4-6 against the switch hitter batting left as a fly to right field. And that is out number 2. Had we let Griffin hit, it would have been a fly to right field. So pretty much 6-1, half dozen of the other. Dwight Evans is scheduled hitter, but he may be coming back as well. He only hit 223. So let's look at the bench and see who they have remaining that's a good hitter. Ogilvy's only a 218 hitter, though. That's kind of rough. They do have Bob Montgomery, their backup catcher, is a 320 hitter. And I realize we're kind of playing the system here because we know what he's going to do ahead of time. I don't know if Eddie Casco would normally make that move or not. But that's one of the advantages of Strat. You kind of can do what you want, I guess. So Montgomery's going to hit for Evans. And if it goes into the extra innings or the ninth inning, they'll bring in Ogilvy to play right field. And Kennedy could play second base for the Red Sox in place of Griffin if it does that as well. So, or actually, they might put Reggie Smith in center, move Rip Miller to right. That might be what they do instead. All right, so Montgomery is your batter, last chance. And now with 2 outs, you wonder if they might try to steal with Rick Miller to try to get in scoring position. It probably wouldn't be a bad move. To get the lead, he needs a 2 through 6 or an 11. He does not get it, so that's, again, a moot point. So it's all up to Bob Montgomery. Palmer to Montgomery, 5-8. Fly ball to right field, and there's your ball game. Jim Palmer and the Baltimore Orioles cut into that Red Sox lead by winning another one, 3-2. Double complete game for both pitchers. Don't know if I've ever had that before, but a double complete game. And we'll do the totals. Player of the game. Well, Gritch hit the 2-run homer, so you could give it to him, but then Palmer pitched 9 innings, gave up 2 runs, so that's a possibility too. Maybe a co-MVP of the game. I don't know. Let's see now. Errors in the game. Did anybody commit an error? I don't remember anyone committing an error, so there's no errors for either team that I can see. Let's check the hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits for Boston. And let's check the walks and strikeouts for Palmer. 1, 2, 3 walks for Palmer. And he struck out not that many. 1, 2, 3, 4. Struck out 4. So his line is 9 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. And, of course, he gets the win. Bill Lee will take the loss. Let's check his numbers. For Bill Lee, he gives up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. That's all I have for the Orioles, are 5 hits. So he gives up 5 hits, but the 2-run homer was the undoing. These walks and strikeouts, just 1 walk for Bill Lee. Strikeouts, 1, 2, just 2 strikeouts. So not much on the strikeout thing either. So Jim Palmer as well as Bobby Grich. You can make your case for either one to be the player of the game. But the Orioles defeat the Red Sox 3-2. Oh, thank you, Trader. Might have been the fastest game I've rolled because it was a low-scoring game and there just wasn't much happening offensively. It's just the way it went. But with the victory by the Orioles, I will update the standings. Real world, or not real world, but I mean up to the minute standings. Baltimore is now 62-43. Boston is now 66-42. A 2.5 game difference. Only one game back though in the loss column. That's the loss column is where it's at. So Boston's played a few extra games, but they're only 2.5 back overall and only one back in the loss column. So that's something certainly to keep in mind as the Orioles try to overtake the Red Sox for that division lead. Next Saturday, we are back to the National League, as I like to, rotate it back and forth. National League, American League. We'll be at the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. It'll be the Houston Astros taking on the Chicago Cubs in that one. And let me get the schedule. Make sure. Yep, Houston at Chicago. It's an August 11th game. So Houston at Chicago will be the NBC game of the week from the friendly confines in Wrigley Field. That will be next week. And it's a big game definitely for Chicago. Don't know that much about Houston. I'll check the standings again in the National League one more time, see where we stand. Of course, there's another week's worth of games to be played before we get to next Saturday. Houston is 59-53, 9 games back of the Giants. Chicago is 45-62, 14 games back of the Pirates. So you wonder if that should be the game. I might have to check the schedule. I may reschedule a different team. I don't have everything set in stone yet, so it's possible I might pick a different thing, but I might just go ahead and stick with Wrigley because kind of the game of the week, they did a lot of games from Wrigley Field because they didn't have lights. So they seem to like to show Wrigley Field in Chicago a lot of the weeks. So maybe just to keep that thing going, we'll do that to show Chicago and Houston. And if I look at let me look at the pitching matchup from August 11th. Let me pull that up for you real quick before I finish, assuming that the computer works and wants to pull stuff up for me. For some reason my Wi-Fi is not responding too well for me. I don't know why, so let's close out of that and try something different. Let's try this. I think we're getting, yeah, there we go. We got some movement now. So August 11th, 1973. Chicago and Houston. From Wrigley. Pitching matchup. It is going to be Jerry Rolls-Royce for the Astros and Rick Russell for the Cubbies. Astros won the game real world 6-4. So that's going to be the pitching matchup. Jerry Royce for the Astros against Rick Russell for the Cubs. That will be the game of the week next week on the NBC game of the week. I do appreciate everybody who tuned in for this NBC game of the week. Like I said, it went by fast. You blink, you missed it. Really, really quick game. Don't know how long I've been going on here. 52 minutes ago. I mean, and that's with some rambling on. So the game probably went 45 minutes or less to play super advanced. But when it's a 3-2 game with only 11 hits and not a lot of walks, I mean, total of 4 walks in the game, 6 strikeouts and 4 walks. So did pretty good. So there is your final. Once again, Orioles win it 3-2 and return to 2.5 games back of the Red Sox. So they're trying to get it going. And as a channel update, next game on the channel will be Inside Pitch, the Tigers and the Yankees. Tigers and Yankees. Tigers lead the Red Sox by 2.5 since the Red Sox got throttled by Cleveland. So Detroit now has a chance to move up 3 games with 10 to play. If they can beat Al Downing and the Yankees, they'll counter with Joe Sparma. Tigers did win the game 10-1 in real world. So if the Tigers win, it'll be a win for them, and they'll be 3 games up with 10 to play. Going to make it really, really hard for the Red Sox, the impossible dream, to repeat itself. But that's why you play the games. So check out RJL's game tonight at Fenway Park between the same 2 teams, Tigers and Red Sox, but different year, 69. He's doing 69, not 67. But check that out. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.